Hello everyone and welcome to another brothercrypt YouTube video. Today I'm going to be covering what is ontology. Now some of you guys, you may have heard this about this cryptocurrency, and currently it's been working its way up the coin market cap charts, and this is a coin I got into recently a few weeks ago, and it has not slowed down in terms of it really taking off. Today is Thursday the 12th of April and the time is 2:15 UK London time. So let's get into it. So what is the definition of ontology? A quick search of Wikipedia says that ontology is the philosophical study of nature, of beings becoming existent or reality, as well as basic categories of beings and their relationships, which is, very fitting for the description of ontology, which I'll get into in a moment. Now, if we head over to CoinMarketCap, wow, let's just refresh this page. It really looks like the market is booming. It's really going positive. We have a total market cap of 298 billion. And as we can see, let's just go back a page very quickly. We can see that in the last 24 hours, everything in CoinMarketCap has been green. Bitcoin has risen by around about 11.19%. Bitcoin price right now is $7,665. We can see that the Bitcoin dominance is reducing slightly. It went from, I think the last time I observed it was either yesterday or 2 days ago, it was about 45%, and now it's dropped down a little to 43.5%. However, it really looks like everything's taken off. I can see increase in Ethereum, Ripple, Bitcoin Cash, well, not Bitcoin Cash, but certainly EOS. Everything is really taking off. However, let's just concentrate on what you're here for, which is this video. And we can see that ontology is listed as number 22. Right, let's just get into ontology. So if we quickly look at the market, if we look at the charts, we can see that, ontology has recently only been in the charts for almost about a month, and in that month it's had a meteoric rise. So when it was first listed on CoinMarketCap, it had a price of about $1.48. Now I picked it up about a few weeks ago, probably about two. Let's just go with the end of March. And yeah, I paid around $2.20. So I'm guessing I picked it up around the 30th of March, maybe even the Thursday. I picked it up around $2.20. However, right now it's grown to $4.53. So it's really, really booming. But what exactly is ontology? Okay. Now, to answer this question, basically, we're going to have to really look at what is Onchain. Now, this is the website for Onchain. And basically, Onchain is a Chinese company which was founded in 2014. And it designs and develops blockchains. They work on large-scale adoption of distributed ledger technology, aka blockchains, for private and public uses. One of the first major projects for Onchain was the creation of Ant shares, aka Neo. The distributed networks architecture, aka DNA, specifically for enterprise usage. So just to clarify terms up, Onchain are a company which are closely aligned with Neo, but Onchain have been working on something called a distributed network architecture, aka DNA, and it's specifically designed for enterprise usage. Basically, Neo, formerly known as Ant shares, uses a consensus module mechanism known as delegated Byzantine fault tolerance, aka DFB, excuse me, aka DBFT. And this basic consensus mechanism does at least two things. It ensures the next block in the blockchain is the one and only version of the truth, and it stops adversaries from framing the blockchain and successfully forking the chain. In cryptocurrency, there are at least 3 or 4 consensus mechanisms that I'm aware of, and there are probably much more. The first is proof of work. This is how Bitcoin and other Bitcoin clones like Litecoin use, which is relatively at this moment slow because it processes anywhere between 5 to 7 transactions per second, and it consumes a lot of electricity in the process of mining. However, proof of work was devised by Satoshi Nakamoto for the Bitcoin blockchain. And the beauty of it right now, 10 years later, is that we know it works, and it was responsible for solving the problem of the double spend. But it requires, revision or replacing so that blockchain can be used at an enterprise level, so that we can have, the ability to process tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands and even millions of transactions per second. This is why the scaling issue is very important for mass adoption. Now, going back to quickly on-chain, another thing. Oh, let me just stick on on-chain. So another, consensus algorithm that you should be aware of. I've just mentioned proof of work, but another one is proof of stake. Now, Ethereum currently at the moment uses proof of work, similar to Bitcoin. It uses miners to strengthen the network. However, Ethereum wants to move to proof of stake very soon, when it has the ability soon. I think it's planned for move of proof of stake this year. But proof of stake requires much less consumption of power and electricity. And basically, it's a group of nodes. The computers are required to confirm transactions and are rewarded with a stake, part of a coin. However, this has security concerns, because for you to do proof of stake, users need to basically leave their wallets open online. And obviously, this is probably not a very good thing, because wallets can easily become compromised or attacked, especially if they're left online all of the time. Now, going back to, on-chain and their involvement in ontology, on-chain are responsible for developing the consensus mechanism, which is used by Neo, which is the delegated Byzantine fault tolerance, aka DBFT. And it's one of those algorithms very few projects actively use, but it certainly has merits. So people familiar with consensus protocols, they're aware of the Byzantine generals problem in a game theory. Basically, just to give you an overview, it means that, the generals of that Byzantine area, they didn't have mobile phones, didn't have smartphones, no GPS. They weren't able to basically know where other generals were. So in order for the generals to talk to each other, they basically had to use a messenger, and that messenger would need to be able to sneak between other generals without being detected, so that generals could coordinate a sort of simultaneous attack. But yes, coming back to cryptocurrency, achieving consensus in a decentralized system is not easy. By using delegated Byzantine fault tolerance, the relationship between different blockchain nodes is rearranged. More specifically, the entire network becomes almost what's the word? Invulnerable to the Byzantine general's problem, while still being able to achieve consensus if malicious nodes would attempt to cause harm. So why? I bet the question you're asking is why is Neo project? Why did Neo projects choose DBFT over proof of work and proof of stake? Um, Now, the goal of the Neo project, or at the time, probably when the goal was set, it was known as Ant Shares, was to allow everyone to digitize real world financial assets, such as shares and security, financial instruments. They wanted a way to securitize them. So, such assets are highly regulated. And since the smooth operation of entire markets and the global economy is dependent on them, attacks on the systems handling securities of these sorts can be, really costly or technically infeasible. They ought to be as close to physically impossible as it's in the power to provide. A blockchain securing global stock markets does not have the privilege to fork into two alternative versions, such as Ethereum's done in the past. And they can just sit and wait it out until the market or whatever's left of it declares a winner. What belongs to whom would be engraved in an immutable record, functioning as a single source of truth with no glitches permitted. So after investigating and studying the cryptocurrency industry and blockchain technologies for several years, Neo came up with the conclusion from Onchain that the delegated Bantain fault tolerance consensus mechanism is best suited for scaling, because they deemed that it provides swift transactions for verification time, it de-incentivizes most attackers, and upholds a single blockchain version with no risks of forks or alternative blockchain records emerging. And another thing about on-chain, another reason why, I'm starting off this description telling you about ontology by bringing up on-chain is that on-chain's actually been going since 2014 for quite some time. Um, and also, on-chain last year were selected by Microsoft back in January. No, excuse me. At the beginning of this year, January, they were selected by Microsoft to be part of the Microsoft Accelerator, allowing them to receive human and financial resources, strategy advice, and market expansion. So basically, both companies will work together on the development of blockchain technologies. That's really a big deal. Um, Now, they used, and if we go back further, in 2017, um, Onchain was labeled in by KPMG to be one of China's top 50 fintech companies, financial technology companies. And, Onchain became the first Chinese blockchain company to join Hyperledger. If you're not aware, Hyperledger is an open source blockchain project started by the Linux Foundation, specifically focusing on the blockchain, specifically focusing on the development of private and consortium chains for businesses. So if you've never heard of Hyperledger, I hope you have heard of, Linux. Basically, if you run a Mac, the Mac OS operating system is a flavor of Linux. When we get to a sort of corporate level of servers and the information infrastructure powering these servers, most servers that provide web data and web information, they usually tend to run on Linux, followed closely by Microsoft. However, Linux is a very strong industry standard. So, yeah, Hyperledger is also a big deal. Another ICO that I invested in recently, Omnitude, they are actually using the Hyperledger platform, and I also believe that IBM are also in Hyperledger as well. So for Onchain to become one of the first Chinese blockchains and to get all this recognition, just that companies alone is a big deal, especially with their relationship with Neo. So sorry for that breakdown, guys. What exactly is ontology? Well, if we check out the website, you can just go to ONT.io. So basically, Ontology is a public platform for projects of all shapes and sizes. And it's a giant step towards removing barriers between the blockchain and business sector. Ontology is revolutionary in the sense that it allows businesses without previous knowledge of distributed networks to use blockchain technology. Right now, there's no way for businesses to integrate blockchain into their infrastructure without extensive knowledge of blockchain. So, for example, if a business wanted to use a blockchain, they would probably say, okay, yep, we heard all of these companies are doing their ICOs on Ethereum. Let's use the Ethereum blockchain. But then people in the business would then need to learn Solidarity. I may have pronounced that wrong, but I think the Ethereum language is pronounced Solidarity. And basically, that's a new language. So any good programmer, they'll take a little bit of time to get into that new language. However, it does cause obstacles for businesses to get into it right now. So as well as current trust networks, businesses face with a variety of issues if they wanted to get into blockchain, poor privacy protection, untapped data value, data management monopolization, and ineffective identity authentication are all opportunities for blockchain. Ontology wants to resolve these issues with its solid trust ecosystem. And this is an important word that I keep on coming across when I hear about ontology, that they want to provide a trust ecosystem. Very important. Now, ontology incorporates multiple types of integrated protocol systems with various blockchains and databases, multi-source identities, and multi-source data exchange protocols have been implemented into the network, building a distributed trust system that is cross-chain, cross-industry, cross-system, cross-application, and cross-device, basically. So Ontology really want to create an offering that's going to be utilized by many different industries and accessible on many different systems and many different devices, and support many applications as well. Now, the Ontology Network provides systems for secure data storage, hardware options for key management, and encrypted data analysis, whilst also providing the framework for use for all types of applications, including decentralized data exchange. Applicable scenarios for the technology of ontology include finance, IoT, the Internet of Things, remittances, payments, international payments, insurance, media, software development, asset titles, medical, and government. Ontology will plan to use the Neo contract, Neo's equivalent to the smart contract, and projects built upon the network will be able to create Neo tokens as well. Whilst ontology will be used for data storage and identity, Neo will be used for asset-based functionality. Now, you might have questions. Well, what's the relationship, amongst between Neo and ontology as well? I brought up this market cap just to show you, that Neo has only really been listed in the market for a relatively short amount of time. It's not even up to a year. So actually, this may take into effect the change of the name as well. So probably Neo has been around longer than CoinMarketCap shows, because they were previously named Ant shares. Yeah, but going back, what is this relationship between Neo and Ontology? Well, let me explain. So back in November 2017, a crowd of blockchain enthusiasts, um, and investors met in New York. They came to hear about Ontology. Um, they came to hear about Onchain announced the launch of their groundbreaking platform, Ontology. Um, Not, let me just read this quote to you. Not only did we bring the best minds together, but the Ontology launch brought our project to the world stage. CEO of Onchain and Neo co-founder Honfei said at the event. Ontology and Neo will build a broad ecosystem using blockchain and other new technologies to serve the real economy. Now, the official website of Ontology lists um, Jun Lee as the founder of Ontology, and I quickly checked his LinkedIn profile, and it lists him as the founder and chief architect of Ontology as well. Now, it should be clarified that Neo does not own Onchain, nor Onchain own Neo. In this YouTube video I checked out, which I'll link to the description in case you want to check it, um, Honfei went to say on that, uh, firstly, I need to clarify the Neo and Onchain are separate entities. So Onchain doesn't own Neo, or Neo nor Neo Onchain. They are separately funded. Neo is funded by the community, and Onchain is funded by a very famous financial group in China, Fosang. I checked up Fosang, and they have a large, a large investment portfolio, including Ontology as well. Yeah, they bought a lot of insurance companies and banks in Europe, so they are separate. Second, Onchain benefits from the Neo ecosystem. The product called DNA is very similar to Neo, but it is written in the Go language. Onchain is helping other blockchains and financial institutions to build their blockchains with DNA. It's basically very similar to Neo, and in the future, with NeoX, the cross-chain protocol, everything can be linked together. That was by Dao Hongfei. So yeah, I hope that's sort of set about any I hope that's sort of given you clarity on what the differences are between Neo and Onchain, because I wasn't sure myself in the process of doing this research. So I just wanted to get that question answered for you as best as possible. Now, there was a graph I wanted to show you on Ontology. I can't see it here, but it should be in the white paper. Yes. Now, this is really the Ontology sort of ecosystem. As you can see, that it sort of consists of four different chains. The first chain is one for the verification of people, wealth, things, and organizations. And then the second chain is like the application, layer, and it links them together. It sort of links this to the other third chain as well. Now, the third chain is to verify and link modules, protocols, software development kits, APIs, and modules. And then the fourth chain is all the different networks chain. This layer sort of functions to link all the chains together. Now, if you look in the white paper, it basically says that in order to meet the needs of the different industries, the flexible design structure is modularized and pluggable and easily expandable. What this means is that Ontology is attempting to be universally adaptable for a wide range of functions. It looks like they're planning to go to source for verifying the accuracy and authenticity of things like ownership or identity. Just, really thinking about ownership or identity, I think companies like Facebook will be able to plug into Ontology, for things like trust, to basically know who's who. Who are you? You say that you're this person, but we're going to figure out a way to verify and without having to trust you, basically. Now, further down, I did check the white paper, and I quickly checked the tokenomics of the project. They have multiple white papers, so I'm not sure if it's here. I'll keep scrolling so I can find it and bring it up for you. But basically, Ontology, with the acronym OMT, was airdropped to Neo holders in March 2018. From the airdrop, 20 million ONT were distributed to the community by the Neo Council, and there is currently a maximum supply of 1 billion Ontology tokens, which are indivisible. And if you were lucky to be holding Neo at the time, for each Neo you held, you would have got 0.2 Ontology. And also, Ontology are offering something very similar to Neon's gas. So Ontology gas, which has the acronym ONG, you get just by holding ONT, similar to how the Neo gas functions. Now, it appears that Ontology had previously awarded up to 1,000 ONT tokens to everybody who signed up for their newsletter, which is now obviously closed. So yeah, I guess I'm a little bit behind with my research because, had I done my due diligence and my research earlier, I would have definitely signed up. Note to self, anything that Neo or Onchain collaborate with, it looks like they can't do no wrong. It really looks like these guys have their shit together, excuse my language. So yeah, it really makes me want to take aware of the sort of Neo on-chain ecosystem as well. Yeah, so how exactly were the coins broken down and distributed? On my notes, I can see that 12% went to the Ontology community, probably via airdrops, as we mentioned previously. 28% are held for institutional partners. Probably Microsoft have a nice share in those institutional partners, and then 10% to the Neo Council. Now, I'm not too sure if that 10% was, constitutes the giveaway. It probably was. Or they gave away part of, because 10% of a billion is 100 million. And previously I mentioned that the Neo Council gave away 20 million. So it looks like they gave away, 2% out of that 10% for the airdrops. And then 25% of the development goes towards the Ontology ecosystem, and then 10% to the Ontology technical community rewards, and then 15% to the Ontology core team. Now, as I mentioned before, you really couldn't buy these, or the best thing was that there was no ICO. What I heard about Ontology was that they just didn't even bother with a public sale. They just gave away the tokens, which was really a good way for them to do them. And, you could only get, so right at this point, at this moment, you can only get Neo, you can only get Ontology by going to the exchanges. Now, I've stored my Ontology on the Neon wallet as well. From what I hear, you can store it on a Trezor and also on the Ledger Nano OS. I'm guessing that to do that, you may actually store it as an Ethereum token, but the best way is in a Neo wallet, and I'm quite happy with the Neon wallet right now. So that's a great way to sort of store it. Let's go back to the website. I think I've pretty much covered everything. Yes, I showed you this video. I showed you this. We've looked at the market. Yeah, so let me just conclude. Um, Here's the Twitter as well. So if you want to check out their Twitter, you can find out lots of developments, what's going on with ontology. But just to conclude, according to the white paper, sociologists put the number of people we trust at less than 100, showing that for most people, it takes time and effort to trust someone and get to know them. Ontology is looking to replace the current lengthy ways we gain trust and bring us forward with blockchain automation of trust. It looks like Ontology will work together with Neo to bridge the gap between blockchain technology and the real world. While Neo and Ontology have similar goals, Neo focuses on digital assets and for the smart economy, whereas Ontology focuses on trust, identity, and data exchange and authorization. Finally, the team behind Ontology comprise of reputable cryptocurrency industry leaders with an already established history of success. Very true. And unlike many other blockchain projects, the Ontology team isn't just targeting the financial industry. Their focus is in on insurance, government, all of the industries I mentioned before, which was medicine, IoT, Internet of Things, and other industries during its growth, making it a wide-scale project with a lot of potential, with a relatively long time presence in the blockchain industry and with a clear vision of the project. It wouldn't come as a surprise to see Ontology work hard, hand in hand with Neo to revolutionize the way we do business and interact with each others, which is very true. Just by looking at the chart, seeing how Ontology sort of boomed, at, regardless of what the rest of the market was doing over the last 2 or 3 weeks. It's been really beautiful. I bought mine at I bought my holdings and got into this position for Ontology around about $2, and somewhere between $2 right up to 2.20. That's when I got in, and in less than 2 or 3 weeks, I've already doubled my holdings. And I'll be honest, I was tempted to take profit, but having done my research into the coin and having investigated further to be able to present this video for you, I really think that Ontology are really going to be here for the long term, guys. I really think that this, might be working hand in hand to be close to EOS or Ethereum even, because they're not just targeting things like a smart contract or a currency. They are really looking at trust and things like authorization, which is the backbone of internet and communications, whether it's in business or whether it's for personal use. And as I mentioned before, potentially Facebook could use them, or any sort of verification service, or even maybe ICOs. They could use it as a form to verify exactly who is who, without having to be dependent on human beings. And it's just more than a blockchain. As I pointed out to you, it's a layer of different protocols, a layer of different applications, culminated to be able to provide trust services. So really, that's all I have for you today, guys. I just wanted to provide a quick update into Ontology. If you don't have any Ontology and you would like to, one of my recommendations would be, you should really watch the market. So be prepared, either send your money or your Bitcoin to the exchange with the sole purpose of buying Ontology. if you can, try to forget about that money. But more importantly, monitor the market, monitor it so that you can buy it at a dip. Because right now, you know, since it's been listed for, let's just say about a month, it's just gone one way. It's really just gone up. However, there are corrections. So, for example, you know, if you wanted to buy Ontology when it was at this high, had you just been waited, you could have waited until it dipped down in price and then you could have bought in at the low. So, you know, based on the information that I've shared, I think that this could potentially easily be somewhere in the range of, you know, 5 billion. I see this company and what they're trying to do as a $5 billion company. So quickly, if we just look at the market, you know, what companies are $5 billion companies? Litecoin, Cardano, okay, Stellar, Neo's, excuse me, let me repeat that again. So what companies are $5 billion companies? Cardano, Litecoin, and above. I see Ontology in a year or two having much more value than Litecoin. I see it being up there with EOS. Now, EOS just recently got to this position because, you know, they increased by 25, 27% in the last 24 hours. So they probably went anywhere from about 5 to 5.5 right up to just under 7. But Litecoin, you know, Litecoin is like Bitcoin, but basically it's not doing anything. So if Litecoin can have an evaluation of $5 billion of $6.8 billion, I don't see any reason why Neo can't. I believe that Neo should be at least in the 10, if not $20 billion companies. So for Ontology, I think that they're going to rise, in my opinion. Obviously, this is not financial advice, guys, but I'm just sharing my thoughts with you. And then I think that right now we can see Ontology has a valuation of, you know, 1.1 billion. I think that it really should be 5. That's just in my opinion. You know, I can't really give you the time scale, guys, but I think this is good. So, you know, with investing in cryptocurrency, um, your success is really going to be predicated on buying at the right time. So, as I said, you know, what I would do is if we now have a price of $4, I would just wait for it to drop. I would be there, ready with my money, just monitoring the markets frequently. Maybe put in, you know, an order, like a self-filling order for $4. However, just watch the market. So when you see the next dip in price, you're just there, ready to pull the trigger, and then you've bought. That's what I would do if you really wanted to get in, or if you just wanted to take a back seat, wait for the next correction, and then get into it then. Okay. Now, I hope this has been helpful, guys. Just before I leave you, I'm really excited. I think today we are at about 83 to 85 subscribers. You know, thank you for everybody that's been leaving comments, that's been subscribing, that's been supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. And as I mentioned in one of my earlier videos, when we do get to 100 subscribers, I'm going to be doing a giveaway. So yes, please do look out for that. So what I'll do is once I have 100 subscribers, I'll create a video specifically for the giveaway, and then I'll be giving away something, guys. So yeah, thank you for all of your support. I hope you found this helpful. Stay cryptic, and yes, I'll speak to you soon with another video. Take care. Peace.